Hello and welcome back to Spirit Scribes. This is a Celtic cross of the beautiful eclipse energy that we experienced this week. It was just the beginning of a very, very beautiful path. All right. So this is part two. Sorry, part two. This is part two of the video. Part one is already posted on YouTube. And thank you for watching that and welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at cards 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I'll just go through just giving you a little brief description of what those cards are before we get into them. The sixth card, and we ended it on the fifth card, which was taking a leap of faith, trusting, and going into that new path with confidence, with support, with the highest mindset, right? With the feathers in the air, right? We're thinking positively. We're making those actions that we need to make, and we're just taking those big leaps and jumps, whether it is physically or consciously or emotionally, that we need to take in order to get to our next step. All right. So, and that big leap has a lot of Uranus energy, and that is going to be a big, big, big theme of the second part of this reading, as well as it's a big, big, big theme of April. One of the things I've recognized as I have gone into the spread, which I actually did 2 weeks ago, was how much of the current astrology was actually being reflected into the spread. So Uranus is a big deal, and it is also the next card up. All right. It's all about wisdom. All right. And it brings in those divine sparks, as well as it's some masculine energy. All right. And we've been talking a lot about the masculine energy as well as the unbalanced masculine energy that is spilling all over the globe. So this beautiful Uranus energy that has come in and that is coming in with the Jupiter conjunction on the 20th of this month is going to really help. All right. So just keep that in mind. We know what's going on. We see what's going on. Help is on the way. And Uranus is a big, big, big part of that fix. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So the sixth card is what is likely to happen. And again, do we need to reiterate? We're now on a path of beauty. The eclipse opened up a new path of beauty. There's a lot of healing energy that came in with the eclipse, with the Chiron energy. And as well, I think there's some more Chiron conjunctions. Either we're in it now or we're going to be in some more Chiron conjunctions during April, right? Auspicious April, bringing in a lot of good things, but it's also awakening us, right? So it's auspicious because it's bringing in some good stuff, but it's a very awakening type of month, getting us to our next levels, our next steps, all right? So what is likely to happen and who showed up? Uranus, all right? Uranus surely showed up, right? And it's about, again, inspiration, those sparks, and the divine masculine, right? So that unbalanced masculine is able to now start his transformation into the divine masculine, as well as for the feminine. And remember, this is collective energy. So we all are going to experience this. Women, men, this is the collective energy. So the collective energy is also saying, we need a fix. We need some Uranus energy to come on in and spark these transformations, these changes, and bring in more divine masculine energy within the feminine body as well as within the masculine body, right? And remember, divine masculine energy is all about structure. right? So here we have the eclipse. It's opening up a new path of beauty. And right behind it is Uranus saying, hey, let me build this up. Let me build this on the new foundation with some good new structures. All right. So Uranus is coming in for all of that. Right. And it's not just Uranus, it's Uranus and Jupiter conjunction. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. All right. So the divine masculine is energy is coming in to create new structures. Sorry. I hope I can be heard. Sometimes when calls come in, it messes up my volume. Sorry. I was supposed to turn that off. All right. So hopefully my volume is there and you guys can hear me. Doing taping during Mercury retrograde is pretty tricky. I actually did this whole thing last night and like 9 minutes recorded. So I'm like, but it's Mercury and we just got to work with it. So that's that Mercury energy. We just got to work with it. All right. So Uranus energy, path of beauty, looking at our old relationships. Everything is resting on our dreams. It's encouraging us to take these leaps, but there's going to be some Uranus action, right? And Uranus brings sparks, shocks. Uranus is not going to be that gentle, that gentle transformation. Uranus will have some shocks in it, right? So, and some sparks. So, I want to actually get into, I want to actually get into the Jupiter and Uranus energy before I start going into the cards, because it's a really big part of the next upcoming, well, today's the 5th, well, tomorrow will be the 15th, but it's a big part of the next couple days, in the next couple of weeks, right? So let's look at that. And I took some notes. I took some notes from other astrologers about this Uranus energy coming in. So I'm just going to talk about that. All right. Because so that we can understand a little bit deeper when I get into the actual card. All right. So let's look at this Uranus and Jupiter conjunction, which is happening in Aries. And that's also very poignant because the Aries energy signifies a whole different thing, right? So it's considered this foundation pillar, right? And Uranus is also considered the subconscious mind, which I thought is interesting, right? So one, we have the divine masculine, the card, looking at it as the divine masculine energy, but here it brings it in as the subconscious mind. So just ponder on that. And this astrology was describing the Uranus, our Uranus as an energy that comes in to either purify you or burn you down to the ground, right? And that's interesting because fire kind of has that element, right? Fire could either allow you to come peacefully around it and purify you, right? Or it can burn you down to the ground, right? If you are not playing with it properly, right? So that's what's coming in. So we all have to kind of really accept this Uranus energy that's coming in and allow it to do what it needs to do in terms of clearing and purifying you, as well as clearing and purifying the land and the collective energy so that we can move forward and bring more and more of this path of beauty and this reality of the beauty path and ground that into this current timeline, right? So in my studies of Venus, not Venus shamanic astrology, which I will bring up later, but in the Egyptian is so many different calendars. The Egyptian shamanic astrology, I was looking at the Uranus energy as well, right? And that Uranus energy is described as the Kundalini energy that breaks up resistance and blocks, right? Looking at it from your own natal chart, like I said, the Uranus, what planet, what sign is in, which one of your signs are in Uranus, and how does that impact your life, right? So now that we have this Uranus energy coming through to break up resistance and to break up the blocks for everybody, it's going to impact you in a specific way depending on what planet is in, or sign of planet is in your Uranus. All right. So just so that you can look at that more clearly. Again, Uranus is that Kundalini life force energy that shatters blocks and resistance. So when we see Uranus coming through, we could say, oh yeah, we need that, right? We need that. It has been described as a rebel or a disruptor or a disturber, right? But it's disturbing the normal that we no longer need, right? So when things like that, and again, 2020 comes to mind, right? It came in and it shook things up, and it was able to clear some stuff out, show a layer of stuff we were being shown before, and we all had to make decisions, and those decisions have manifested into a different reality than we had before 2020. So we're kind of like in that corridor again, where it's a grand cycle of transformation for everybody on a collective level as well as an individual level. There will be some ripple effects that will be shocking and disturbing, but they're really there for you to make some decisions and trust that everything that happens is actually here to add to the beauty, not to take anything away from, well, take the things away from the madness to create more beauty. All right. So again, this was the whole alchemy of fire and water, right? The sun and the moon, right? The fire being the sun, and the water being the moon, right? So those two bodies, those two elements coming in as one. All right. So again, these are the descriptions of different astrologers that I was listening to and tapping into this week, because I saw that Uranus energy with the cards, and it was like, oh, this is going to be impactful. There's a lot of Uranus energy showing up. I wonder what is going on with Uranus, and I found out. All right. So it's purifying, and the merging of opposites. And that came up again too with the Gemini theme. Remember the Gemini card with part one, basically two opposite parts coming together. And remember that Gemini energy was what are the forces around this, right? And it was that Gemini energy, right? Two forces coming together as one. So again, it's coming in through the Uranus merge and purification. All right. So also birthing something new. There's going to be some transcendence, self-discovery, work of the alchemist with the self. Remember, the alchemist is purifying. The alchemist is bringing the best potential out of a substance, right? Going from one aspect to a higher aspect of itself. Relationship with the soul, the sun, and the Christ. And I had to replay that when I heard that. And it says the relationship between the soul and the Christ, the soul and our own inner divine essence. That's the Christ, your own inner divine essence. And this whole eclipse energy about opening up the way for beauty and standing in your confidence, your solar plexus power, Archangel Uriel is going to come in some more. All of that solar plexus energy, right? So again, our courageous authenticity, being able to own our own divine essence, right? So own the essence of all of that which you have been and transformed into, and own it now, right? Owning your own inner Christ, right? So merging that together with your soul, right? So this is your own inner Christ as well as the completeness of your experience, right? And all of that. So owning your transformation as well as your complete journey, merging all of that together, right? And allowing that new sun to shine, right? So again, the philosopher's stone is being born. All of these metaphors just to really get you to understand and all of us to understand the moment as well as the potential that we now have at our fingertips, at our mindsets, at our mouth, and can feel it as well in our stomachs as well as in our hearts, right? We can really ground this in and then embody it into the realm. All right. So, yeah, and let's not forget about again the Lyran shower and the Ecta Aqua Ridge shower, right? All of those stuff are happening. I think the Lyran shower starts today, right? On the 14th, right? So we're getting a lot of Lyran energy. Yeah. All right, let's get it started. All right, so I say that to say this. Uranus is coming in a big way, okay? And Chokma is actually the house of wisdom, right? And again, inspiration sparks divine masculine. One thing about this too is that it also brings in, they called it the pillar of the foundation pillar. And interestingly enough, foundation pillar, the tree of life has several cutouts, I should say. I don't know, cutouts of it. And I said, well, let me see what other triangles can conclude or include the Uranus or pillars. And some interesting ones came up, but I'll look at first the pillar of mercy, right? Again, Uranus is at the head of it, and this is the pillar of mercy, right? So that's Uranus at the top here, Jupiter here, and Venus here, right? So again, you have another pillar, and this is called a pillar of mercy. Now, we have a Uranus and Jupiter conjunction coming up on the 20th, right? 20th is, I think, is Thursday. That would be perfect because Thursday is Jupiter's day expansion. So if it's happening on a Thursday, that's going to be some interesting energy. All right. So I don't know if it's happening on a Thursday, but my mind kind of tells me it is, right? So Jupiter and then Venus, right? And Venus is in Aries right now. So you're gonna have Jupiter, Venus, Uranus, all of them in Aries. Okay, that's a lot of good energy. That's some good energy. All right. And remember, Aries now is that planet of war. But as well as we are also having the Libra and Aries North Node swap or something like that, right? So we're no longer feeding into this war, again, the unbalanced masculine. We're going more into the divine masculine, the peaceful warrior, right? So all of this Uranus energy and the pillar of mercy is coming on in order to aid and soften, keep on saying the word gentleman, beautiful blue up there, to soften this transition. All right. And not just to soften the transition, but to remove the density out of the unbalanced masculine. Let's just put it that way. All right, wherever it may be. All right, so there's a lot of transformation going on. Please, please, please keep that in mind and be aware that there's a lot of transformation going on within you. So be gentle with yourself and each other as we go through these transformations. At the same time, pay attention to what your inside is telling you to do and not to do, because the new self is speaking to the old self. And you're going to have to decide which way you're going to go with that, how you were being or what you want to create more and more of for yourself in the future. And sometimes that's not the same thing. All right. So going back into the pillar of mercy, it's a helping hand to move things along. It's adding energy. It's not negative energy removing. It's positive energy adding. All right. And it helps us all to head in the new directions. All right. So yay. Right. It says pay attention to events outside of your control. There's guidance within them. I love that. I love that. I love that. And again, take that with you, not just for this time. I mean, that is like how to treat all storms, how to treat everything when something is so big, and especially changes where it's so big. And you have to say, one of the things I do is say, hold on, is this really my change, or is this an outside change? I think that's first and foremost what you can do to balance yourself, right? Because there is a lot going on, but you have to say, hold on, is this really impacting me? Or is this something outside of my home, right? It's not impacting me. It's not impacting my family. It's out there. And if that is the case, then we can choose to separate ourselves from it, as well as we can give it some love and some healing energy, right? But if it's something within us, then we have full control to say, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. But these outside events that are outside of our control, because the only person you can really control is yourself, what we get to get from those things is wisdom, right? Because we can look at it and say, okay, I see what's going on here. This is not for me. This is for me. Oh, this is what they were doing. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that before, but now I can see it. There's some clarity and guidance that comes within all of these storms. Sometimes we get caught up on it, and sometimes we're looking for the conclusion or the result or the justice or the punishment and the only thing really Spirit has for us is guidance. And sometimes that is more powerful than anything else that Spirit can give you, because with that guidance, it's like giving you some gold. And you can do so much with gold, right? Guidance is gold, right? Oh, guidance is gold. Spirit said golden. So yeah, guidance is golden, right? So remember that. Guidance is golden. So let these outside of my control events guide you. All right. And it says trusting the magic of the moments. And then it mentions the muse, right? That these moments are muses. And that reminded me of when I was reading a book about the oracles, right? I don't want to say the word improperly, and it's not coming up right now. So the Sibyls. Oh, thank you. I did not want to say their name wrong. I was reading a book about the Sibyls, and it mentioned how the word muse was the feminine version of the word Moses. And just looking at that, that guy's looking a little Moses-ish, right? So, the long white beard and all of that, right? So it's that muse energy, right? That Moses muse energy that sparks you into the divine creations, right? So have faith And again, take those leaps, trust in your intuition and trust the magic and the moments, right? So again, the Uranus energy is considered the destructive, and I'll let y'all keep on looking at the picture. I'm doing a little magic here myself. The destructor, the disturber, the one that says, not me, not today. And I wrote the code breakers, the spell breakers, right? Writing our own stories with the magic of the stars, imbued with the magic of your spirit. Now that one came from the deck, but that reminded me. I just finished watching not Rebel, Ripley on Netflix. Oh my goodness. Talk about writing our stories with the, well, he was using some magic, but I don't know, right? We're writing our stories. I mean, that movie was the perfect example of the negative way to write your own story. But the power in he was able to create that universe just as he needed it to play out. I don't know if anybody got that. He created that. He created his story, his roles, everybody's else's roles. He had that story written, and each character fell into it. Like I said, not the best example, but he knew he had the power to write his own story and live it. Hey, you do too, but please choose to do it to help people and not to bring people down or take advantage of others. And really, that is the past. That is the past. And all of this, Spirit was reminding me about this dream I had, especially because there was half of it in black and white and there was half of it in color. So watching the Ripley's movie, and it's interesting because there are not many black and white movies. So it was a great movie. And as I watched it, like my spirit was almost guiding me that you're now in that timeline. Here's the black and white movie. And the black and white part of my dream, it was the part to be avoided. And it's just interesting. So some of the messages from that dream are coming back to me. And again, it was like, don't get caught up in the black and white matrix of things, but listen to our heart. Listen to our heart. Listen to and trust how we feel. And I think, again, we're in that timeline where we have to tap into our heart. Even when you see the Fool's card and him taking that jump, right? And the eagle is, because I don't know if it's supposed to, I mean, clearly it's supposed to be there, but it's coming from his heart. That's what's one thing I noticed. The eagle is connected to his heart. So it's like that eagle or hawk, right? Eagle or hawk vision, but it's coming from the purity of his heart. And as he takes this big old leap, everything is about truly how he's feeling in his heart. So this is heart purpose, his soul purpose, all of that. So again, we have to trust how we feel. And again, we're talking about owning our intelligence and owning our wisdom. So we also have to own those experiences that taught us how to be, how not to be, how to feel, when to say yes, when to say no, when to go, when to stay. That's what we're trusting. We're trusting our heart and we're owning our intelligence, right? So when we take those leaps, we know, hey, I can do this. I can do this, right? So all of that, right? All of this is a part of this new, beautiful opening and opportunity and path that we get to experience, as well as, I always say, weave ourselves into and integrate ourselves into, allow a more beautiful world to come into your life. Why not? All right. So write your story, right? Start writing your beautiful stories. All right. The pillar of mercy again is Chokma, chest, and Netzach in the tree of life. Chokma, chest, and Netzach, which is Uranus, Jupiter, and Venus. All right. And Venus is for victory, right? Chest is mercy. And Chokma is wisdom. And just to give some information about the more information about the pillar of mercy, it speaks about what peace means and how it feels, right? So what, again, remember the Aries and the Venus in Aries and the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction and turning that Aries fire warrior energy to now more peace, right? So again, this Uranus, dare we say, is going to bring in some more peace to us and to our lands, which clearly is needed, and to our minds, right? So, what peace means and how it feels. How does it feel for you to be in a state of peace? And, it's good to really recognize what you need as an individual to come into peace and what you require to stay in a peaceful or wholesome wholeness balance. I prefer the word wholeness than peace because, peace can be broken up into pieces. So we try to say wholeness sometimes in replacement of peace, but peace is really more universal. But again, coming into a mindset, we want to come into wholeness. We've already been in pieces. So we actually are trying to come into more and more wholeness, or I would say harmony versus peace, or serenity or tranquility. You know what I mean? Just higher vibrational words, right? So so how does wholeness, serenity feel, and what does it mean, right? Also, it's offering us, it says, respite and shelter in a comfortable and loving space. So as we go through these transformations, it's not saying like, hey, it's going to be a smooth ride. It's actually saying, no, it's going to be some shocking stuff. Right? There's going to be some things going down. Going to be some ripple effects afterwards, because you see how much beauty that day was. That day was full of beauty, as well as this week was full of beauty, right? So it's already began. It's already began. But just to let you know, what happens is actually, again, you can feel safe. It's like, again, being in a Garden of Eden. You can feel safe, or being in the loving care of Mother Earth, saying, okay, yeah, this is going to come through, but while you shed, I always say shed and rise. As you shed and rise, you'll be able to do so in a very holistic and loving environment. So that's the pillar of mercy. And we all get to receive it if we want it. And I think that's also too what we have to realize with our mindset, guard your hearts, guard your hearts, guard your minds. It's like somebody offering you, hey, come into this very beautiful, peaceful environment. And you're like, I don't need that right now. Bye. Let me focus on these people over here because they pissing me off. Right? So it's like, right? We gotta believe it. Again, Ripley's or not, Ripley's believe it or not. I mean, that Ripley has so many metaphors I could use, right? We're in that believe it or not stage. You want it, you better believe it, because what you believe in is going to manifest. So why not believe in the beauty and the wisdom and the good and the everything that is going to empower you? Why not believe in that? So that you could tap into it more. It's like when we're manifesting, they say act as if. But we got to remember every day we're manifesting. So act as if you believe that we're in a path of beauty, more wisdom is coming to you, more joy is coming into you. You have the potential to create all that is good, wisen up, strengthen up, that a lot of this stuff that we don't like, that we have been complaining about, that actually is coming to a needed end. And we can all be a part of creating more the things we want to see, as opposed to complaining about the things we don't want to see. But at that same time, I will say we have the whole acknowledgement of what we do not want anymore is very important. but it has to be, it doesn't have to be, the balance of it is don't get stuck in what you don't want to happen anymore. Do it in balance. Guess what? I don't want this to happen. This is what I want to happen. The solution, the reality that you see, as well as if it's not a favorable reality, what can I do to help bring about the higher perspective, the thing I do want to see? What do we need to do now? Right? I think that's just a more cohesive as well as empowered conversation to have with ourselves, first and foremost, and then share those ideas with others, right? Just my advice, know me. All right, child of the stars. All right, so we have some symbols in this beautiful card, and it is again the wand of creativity and power and life force, right? As well as pearls, right? His hand is on a big old pearl there, on his chair, right? So those are pearls, wisdom through experience, and that, I mean, I can't point that out enough. It's the wisdom coming through our experiences. All right. So now let's get into how we see it. How I see it. I get to change the picture on this. Let's change the picture. How we see it. How we see it. And again, this helps a little with the duality, because there's always some duality, but then, duality can be very harmonistic once you come together. You can put diversity in harmony. You really, really can, right? So this is how I see it, or this is how one aspect might see it, and then it's how the others see it. So just showing the different views. And we really do have to realize that we have a lot of views. People have a lot of different views and ideologies. Again, that's that Sagittarius energy, and we can't be afraid to speak our ideology. But I would just say, as you speak it, recognize that who you're speaking to has an ideology as well. So at some point, you just got to realize, all right, let me just be comfortable in mine. Right? That's what I've been doing, at least, right? Let me just ground in and be comfortable in mine because it's working for me. You know what I mean? If you are part of it, great. If you're not, you found something else that works, I'm happy for you too. Really am. So how I see it. How I see it is it's grounding. Very, very grounding. Everything that's coming in is what we need, right? It's good, and I'm a grounder. I'm an anchor to float. So I'm all about going out there. I was gonna say the sun right now is cool. I'm also gonna say make contact with the sun. Make contact with the sun every day. Just tap into that beautiful energy that's coming from the sun right now. It is so, so gorgeous. I just stepped outside before I did this, and I was like, oh. It felt so good. And literally like, yeah, you gotta, and I also have to start doing my crystal sun gazing. Again, I just needed to get this eclipse energy information out. It just told me I had to, so I did. And once I finish this video, I'm back on the crystal messages and the sun gazing, which I'm excited to do because that's some new energy out there and I want to gaze with it. All right, and ground it in. All right, so the earth, all right? This is the earth element. So practical, grounded, and disciplined, right? So again, this eclipse energy is here. It's opened up a whole new path of beauty. It's asking us to look back at our loving relationships, what we've learned, the choices, use some humor. It's encouraging us to be independent, but cohesively together as partners, respecting our own individuality. It's all on our dreams and hopes. It's telling us to take a leap, because this Uranus energy is coming in. It's going to shake some stuff up, but it's also going to be moving us forward. And to ground yourself in this. You can ground yourself in this. And the whole energy of grounding is connecting to Mother Earth, feeling safe, feeling protected, as well as knowing and creating this beautiful connection between you and Mother Earth, and I say in all the elements. I know it's like grounding, but it's like tap into the water, the the light, the earth and the air, and you in the middle of all that. Again, going back to the fifth element being the ether and coming in with that spirit of gratitude, right? Grounding all of that in with the earth. And like, okay, once you and the earth are connected, then when Uranus comes, it's going to help you. Right? And that's the thing. When things come, as I said in the last video, the earth could shake, but I'm going to be all right. I'm going to shake right with it. Right? So you know that you're good. Right? So this is also bringing in that Taurus energy, that Virgo energy, and that Capricorn energy. So take a look at where those energies, how those energies affect you in your chart, that magical tool, that disc in the middle, they say that could either be made out of wood or of stone, and then it has the beautiful star in the middle for guidance, right? So again, it's like knowing that, remember 2024 is also the year of high magic, right? So again, and high magic meaning high vibrational, and to me nature magic kind of is like the same thing. 1 minute you see 7 colors arcturus in the sky, and then it's not there. 1 minute the flower is closed and then it's wide open. Like, to me, nature is magic, and knowing your nature, your own divine nature, is knowing your magic, knowing your natural essence, knowing your flow. That's my definition of magic, nature, right? So when we connect with the earth, it's almost like you become magic, because you're now able to do the magic of nature. And again, you become the nature, you become magical. My story, I get to write it. Right? This is also talking about the solar plexus energy. And again, what did we say? The soul and the inner divine self, right? Your inner divine essence, right? So your solar plexus, and your solar plexus is all about your confidence, your will, your radiance, your self-esteem, not being afraid to speak out and say what you feel, and not really say, well, oh no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to say this because then this person might not like me, or this person or that. It's none of that. It's like, you know what? I came here to say this and do this, and this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not disrespecting you. Let me be me. That's it. That's the solar plexus type of move. All right. So again, ground yourself in you. Ground yourself in all of these beautiful and not so beautiful experiences that have formed you into being who you are right now. Trust. Take that leap. All right. The practicality now, again, here's the groundedness, the practicality, the earthliness, right? The Taurus, the Virgo, the Capricorn energy. What needs to be done? What needs to be built in order, like, okay, I want this, but what do I need to build up? And again, think of a tree, right? The branch of a tree is the building, right? The tree can only grow as high as that middle branch. So the branch helps to allow that tree to be built, right? So we gotta figure out what we want. We gotta figure out what we gotta build within ourselves to get what we want, or outside, because this could be an internal or external thing, a real physicality, a new project. Where is it going to be? How am I going to get there? How am I going to pay for it? All of that. What finances do I need? And what needs really am I attending to as I do this? You know what I mean? Like, what is this all for? What's the real purpose of all of this? So that's that earthly groundedness. Like, I'm not just thinking about it, because we went into the stars and all the ideas, and Now we're grounding all of this stuff in and making this a reality. And really, I think that's kind of like where we are right now, as well as May. We're in April now, but May is right around the corner with the real Taurus energy. So as we experience May, and like I said, this is the eclipse, it doesn't just happen one day and then it's like, oh, back to normal. No, all of these beautiful celestial and astrological ceremonies, they open us up to new realities and new potentialities that we actually have to again claim and weave ourselves and integrate ourselves with by our mindsets and our hearts. Okay. So again, when that Taurus energy hits, I mean, because that's the next earthly energy that we're going to experience, that could be where we got to start saying, okay, how am I going to ground all of this that I want to manifest and experience during this new path of beauty, which is forever? This is the new way. How do I actually manifest all of this? This is about manifesting the dreams, manifesting the hopes, right? Manifesting the inspirations or giving the inspirations more and more and more in order for us to create this new thing, to give it form and physicality. All right. So some of the symbols in it, manifestation, and let me get out the way. Bye-bye. Earth symbols, manifestation, grounded, practical matters, money, growth, being here and now, again, staying in the present, right? What do I need to do now? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do this month? What action steps do I need to take? Again, the Taurus is methodical, grounded, and the Hierophant. The Virgo is precision, the student, and the hermit. And the Capricorn is business and success, as well as the devil energy. And because we're in a new timeline and we gotta get around these old words and old meanings, the devil actually brings you truth, illusion, and trust, right? It's bringing out the nature of your true self. That's really that devil energy, right? Or people even say like demon or devil, right? But what we don't like to admit is the demon and the devil is within us, and we really got to transmute that. It's not outside of us, it's within us, and it's collectively outside of us because it's a little bit of all of our inner demons and devils. All right. So we got to clear it up. You know what I mean? But that Capricorn energy is here to clean it all up, transform it, right? And the Capricorn, it is as one astrologer describes it, is the Black Cinderella, right? That transformation, that carbon, going back to the purity of it, the purity, the core of it, right? So again, that Capricorn energy has a lot of significance too. All right. So what is the truth of the situation? That's what the devil energy pops up to show you, hey, what is the truth? Again, I'm just thinking again in 2020, the devil showed up, but who saw the truth? Some people just saw the devil, just saw the fair. Some of us saw the truth. Get it? You know what I mean? So when the devil shows up, you let those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, right? Eyes to see the truth and the ears to hear the truth when the devil shows up, because that's why he's showing up, or she, to test you to see, can you see truth? Can you hear truth? Do you know truth? Are you truth? Ooh, see why I had to do this over? Because last night recording didn't have none of this. This is the one. All right. So it's removing also the roots of the problem or the illusion. This is the devil energy, right? It removes the roots of the problem. So we're going to experience all of this. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. We're going to experience the removing of the roots of illusion. Yay. It's about time, right? Who or what is pulling your string? That's some clarity, right? Who or what is pulling your string? So these illusions that have been rampant and causing so much fear outside of us and within us that we have really been a part of, Uranus is coming in to purify that or burn it down to the ground. So you got to decide which one, how you want it to play out in your life. And again, it doesn't play out in everybody's life the same way, too. You know, we don't all go through the same thing because the same thing is happening. Everybody has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The same day don't play out with everybody. All right. So know that we can all be under some Uranus energy and it will not, how it happens to me will not be how it happens to you because of how you're thinking and because of how I'm thinking. So you could think whatever you want to think, but I always say, make sure it empowers you. Make sure it empowers you. All right, that's what I do. It works. All right, so let's move on. It says also being committed to spiritual growth takes devotion to a new sort of dance. And again, so hey, don't think we're not being elevated. But again, remember I was saying your old self is still talking to your new self. And sometimes it's like, but I want to do this, but we're not doing that no more. Right? Spiritual growth takes a moving to a new dance, because at last week it was like, okay, I need to do this. But this week is like, no, you need to do this, so you got to also, again, be ready for that Uranus energy to move you to a new dance, a new rhythm, because you are growing spiritually. All right. So that's just so important for us to ground in and understand before it happens. So when it's happening, it's not like it's happening because you're growing. Say thank you. All right. So this oak tree, strength, wisdom, healing, the shield, protection, preservation, the star, guidance, promise, fulfilled, the dare, grace, innocence, gentleness. And again, this masculine energy. We already had the divine masculine with the Uranus energy. Then we have this earthliness and then the dare. So again, I'm telling you, was this a soft blue? It's the soft gentleman. It's the divine gentleman, not the warrior at war, but the peaceful warrior. And that's in us masculines as well as us feminines. Okay, that's with everybody, right? The peaceful side, the gentleman, the gentleman. It's already a word, the gentleman. All right. And the antlers are there too. It's either the dare, but then there was some antlers attached to the star. I realized it was like the dare, but these antlers are a little off, but the antlers are attached to the star, the higher guidance. And that's what all the antlers always mean too. We're connected to a higher self, the moose, all of these animals with the antlers and the horns, you're connected to something above your crown. All right. So connecting to guidance as well as being grounded in love. All right. That's so important to be grounded in love as opposed to grounded in fear and grounded in war and grounded in separation, which is the old path. Really, it's the age of Pisces. We've been there. We have been there. We're not doing that no more. We're just not, so we have to allow this transformation. We have to allow this breakdown of the old to really bring in this new, beautiful age of Aquarius, which comes with some revolutions and some breakdowns, some tower crumbling moments. All right. Again, I noticed at the bottom that the path is like being lit up, right? That path at the bottom is being lit up. You can see the green and the yellow at the bottom is brown, but then you see some little stones, so that's being lit up. And green and yellow is always about our solar plexus, once again, our wisdom, our confidence, as well as the green abundance. So that green and yellow combination is usually signifying abundance and growth and prosperity, the gold and the green. All right. The butterflies, transformation, change, and of course, the air. right? The air, again, that element of air. So the element of air, as well as this element of fire, because it's the sun and the soul, as well as this beautiful element of the earth being grounded in, right? So a lot of the elements showing up too, and again, in different forms and fashions, but the essence of the thing is where we can always take from it and take from symbology and symbols is the essence of a thing. And that's what I'm here to do. Bring the essence of a thing to you. All right. So how do others see it, right? So what's the other half of the coin? And I was actually, again, we're in a path of beauty, so it's not going to be so different. It really isn't. And it makes sense that they were cohesive, right? So how do others see it? Others see it as the Empress path. Let's change the picture. All right, let's get into that. And I like too how it's masculine and feminine energies coming in. It's not one-sided. So, there's the grounded view and then there's the Empress view, but really, they create a really good union. I mean, the grounded Empress, hello. That's the masculine and the feminine. It's a cohesive relationship inside and out. It's harmonious, right? And that's what we're all about in the 8, harmony, right? So let's look at the Empress and what energy that is all about. Creative endeavors, nurturing, fertility. So again, as we experience this beautiful path of beauty, we all have all the players. Now we get to create. And again, right before this earthliness, right? Because the earthliness is being grounded for the nurturing. Then we got to touch the ground to create. We seed and then we create. Right? It just makes sense, right? So we ground to manifest. Fertility, we're creating our creative endeavors, right? So the Empress path, and the Empress path is also between Baina and Chokma. Baina, remember, is understanding. Chokma is wisdom. So again, this Empress path, before Uranus shows up, ground yourself, right? And create, right? Put yourself in that Empress embodiment, that Empress path where you're creating, and you're creating with that Uranus energy. You're not resisting it, because again, the Uranus energy is the life-giving force. So of course the Empress needs to have that Kundalini energy to create the new life with, right? It is just so beautifully cohesive. I hope you get it. Because I not just get it, but get it. You know what I mean? Get all of it, and you're weaving and creating with it, because it's such a beautiful new path, and it's such a beautiful potential really for all of us, and that's why I was so guided to do these and call it the light of the eclipse. And like I said, it was this reading, this spread, that made me do all of the other ones. It was like, no, this is too good for people to be afraid about it, as well as, it's not just one day. It is the beginning of a whole new path that is opening up for us. So that's so important for people to ground in and be fertile with, produce and create with this energy, right? Not be afraid of it and get stuck, right? So we are going from understanding to wisdom with this Empress path, right? And it's a path of illumination that gives you the divine spark and plan. So you have the divine spark, and now you got the divine plan. Again, this masculine, feminine energy, right? Like the role of the man might spark it, seed it, but the woman carries out the plan. And there's some conversations going around that I think are, I heard, actually I have it in my notes. Anyway, but we'll get to that. We will get to that. All right. So again, the old way was the men seated and the women executed. Suppose the women get to seed and now the men have the beauty of execution, and we get to swap roles in a way where, not to say that we're no longer being women and they're no longer being men, but we get to seed some stuff and they help us to nurture those seeds. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. right? Because they are there for structuring. So the nurturing could come within the structuring. Anyway, I'm just saying, it could be a really, really good thing because we've had a lot of structuring without nurturing, right? So, but anyway, I'm just saying, look towards the future, look to the light, look to the light, ponder it, meditate on that. The woman seeds, the masculine nurtures the egg that she has seeded. All right. Anyway, let me go on. I get kind of like tied up in different thoughts, but anyway, it's a path of illumination that gives you a glimpse of your own divine plan. All right. So again, how do I do this? How do I do this? What are the steps? Right. And it's the link between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So understanding and wisdom, divine masculine, divine feminine. All right. And it's of course the planet of Venus, right? So allowing ourselves to feel nurtured, being good to ourselves, supported, loved, heard, fed, indulging in our true senses with a true sensuality. So you're not faking no way. You tapped into the 5, to your 6, to everything. You can feel, you can touch, you can taste, you can enjoy the pleasures of life. It's being tapped in and feeling again, feeling everything. I almost want to feel myself. Literally, you feeling everything. You're not numb. You get to feel it. You get to feel the beauty of the earth. And yeah, right. Just be full. Look how full she is. I mean, really, look how full she is. And I love that corn is there too. That corn is a symbol to me, is a symbol of abundance. And her stomach actually looks to me, I saw it looked like the apple. And behind her is like she's a shield there. It's a vortex of creation. Her belly is stomach is a vortex of creation, as well as the love and the shield. That's also a vortex of creation, right? I love the line in this card. It said, rest, ice cream, and believing in the magic within. It's a new phase. The Empress stands for that. The Empress path includes that rewards are tangible, beauty, luxury, new loves, and artistic expressions. I love this line. An Empress would ask permission of whom exactly? Isn't that the best line ever? An empress would ask permission of whom? Exactly. Who you asking permission for? And that's again in taking ownership of our intelligence, taking ownership of our choices, taking ownership of our artistic expression of, who I need to ask permission for? Really? Nobody. Okay. I'm just saying, let's move along. Right? Let's move along. All right. So we see what's coming. We can see what's coming too, because it's so beautiful out there. It really is beautiful out there. You got some crazy people doing some crazy things, but beyond them, it's a lot of beauty. Check your status. Check it. Really, when you see what people are doing out there, other than the crazies being crazy, there's a lot of beauty being created. The magpie. So symbolism in this card, the magpie, wise, good decision making, right? And that stands for the Virgo energy as well. The apple, love and knowledge. The pearl, wisdom. Wisdom through experience, even better. The shield, protection, preservation, and earth. The wands, again, creativity, life force, and fire. And the rubies. I put the rubies here because it's almost like she's in a crown. I know those are like a roses and it's like a ruby crown on her head. It's the energy though, and that ruby ray is very, very, very beautiful, very connected as well to the earth realms, and it's energy and concentration and protection, right? So, and even the eclipse at sunset that night, the ruby ray was there, and a lot of Venus energy too, when we see that beautiful a sunset in the evening when, because Venus is right behind the sun. And sometimes we can't see Venus because it's so close to the sun. Um, Sometimes we can't see Venus because it's close to the sun. So where was I going with that? I can't remember. So let me just leave it alone. Um, yeah, like completely went out of my head. But anyway, let's move on. But oh, the sunset. Yeah. So sometimes when you see that beautiful orange and red and like that deep ruby ray or purple, it is that it's the planet's energy, um the rays from these planets coming off from behind the sun, right? So, and then we get to see it more at the sunset. Like with the sunset, all those different rays are the rays from different planets. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. And Venus is one of those ones where you get to see that beautiful, the oranges and the pinks and the purples. That's that Venus energy, just making the whole place beautiful. All right. And also think about it too, with that going back to Netzach and the Venus energy and the pillar of mercy. Venus also rules who? Libra. And I want to say, no, 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 no. Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Yeah. So again, that grounding and that love. The Libra, the balance, the balance and the justice, that's what I meant. And the grounding. So again, think of all of that, coming in too, Um, yeah, the Venus energy with the Libra energy and the Taurus energy. That, we're getting some good cosmic energy here. You know what I mean? We're really in a good mix. We're really in a good cycle of energy. So believe it or not, but I think you need to believe it. It would be beneficial to believe it. All right, so we're almost done. We're almost done. Number 9, hopes and fears. All right, moving right along. And all of this stuff is always going to be wrapped up into hopes and fears because listen, what did we experience before? Everybody telling you that the world was going to end again. Haven't you heard that before? The world ain't gonna end. Ages end, but the world is gonna keep on spinning. Nature's definitely gonna survive. But anyway, if you want the world to end and get blown up with it, hey, believe it. So let's get into it. Hopes and fears are always wrapped up in our best potential. So of course the sun came out again. And again, it's so cohesive, right? The sun came out to say, hey, this is the path of beauty. So what's the hope and the fear? The sun coming out. Right? Which it did, right? Um, yeah, it's our purpose. It's our self-mastery. It's our highest visions, right? And yeah, I mean, living in the world that we live in, yeah, certain people would fear people having their highest visions realized, living their soul purpose and achieving self-mastery. That is a threat to some people. That's a threat to some people far away from you as well. It's a threat to some people really close to you. I mean, being on a journey of self-mastery, which I am, is not some people fear it. Some people fear who you become as you do it, and some people fear what you're speaking of as you speak it. So I know all about that, as well as it's a part of your hope and your dream. So you deal with both. You deal with the reality of continuously seeing and experiencing a better version of yourself, and you deal with the fear of people outside of you that don't really understand the transformation and don't want you to behold what it is you're beholding because it's different from what they're experiencing, as well as your own fears of becoming your best self. It's not just everybody else's fear, As we walk this path, we do go through our own fears. And the more we walk the path, it's actually we acknowledge our own fears. Because when you start, it's like fear. And then it's like, oh, fear. That? Okay. I got it. So this whole fear game which is played a whole lot, you get to master that. You master the game of fair. And that's a beautiful thing, right? As well as you see the game of fair so much clearly as it's being played on this board, right? So you know it's a game. We all know it's a game, right? So let's get into the hopes and the fears. And I love because it's all wrapped up in number 9, right? Because 9 holds everything. That's probably why it's hopes and fears. Yeah. All right. So it's the 30th path, and it's the path of the sun. Again, you're not going to create beauty from 6, the question, without taking on the path of the sun, right? And the sun, purpose, vision, self-mastery. Let me just, so y'all could have a beautiful of the full card, right? Purpose, vision, self-mastery. And it's the path that we go between Yesod and Hod. Yesod is foundation, Hod is splendor, right? So as we set down the new foundation, and we create we experience, I would say we experience the splendor of our new creation, right? Like I said, I'm not a tree of life expert. I've worked with it and I'm continuing to work with it, so I'm learning it. So the Yesod with Hod, so from foundation to splendor, and it is the 30th path, right? And this path offers clarity to those who use the light to see the way ahead. Right? I mean, come on, it's the sun. So literally, again, it's hopes and fears. Are you using your fears to see the future? Are you using the light? I mean, like literally, I don't know if I could like feel the sun. Let me see if I could step into it so y'all could see. See? Oh no, because this sun is so beautiful. I could just feel it coming from outside right now. It's so beautiful. Anyway, like I'm feeling the sun on my back. It's so gorgeous. But anyway, stay focused. um, but yeah, it offers clarity to those who use the light to see the truth, right? And to see the future and to plan ahead, right? Again, using not planning so much our future on this went wrong. I'm afraid of this. They always do this. It's changing to say, well, you know what? I want a future that has this, that no longer has that, and no longer has this, and no longer has that negative stuff. And that's what I'm working towards. I'm not taking all of this illusion and mixed up identity and lack and victim mindset and blame with me. We're starting on a new path, right? And I don't say that to say what has happened don't need to be acknowledged and dealt with, because that actually does. But again, what are you doing about it? You know, and within your own self, the solution, you can add to the solution, and we can all add to the solutions and work towards the solutions. Don't get stuck in the problems. That's all I'm saying. Don't get stuck in the problems where the whole conversation is about the problem versus parts of the solution coming to the light. All right. This is about the conscious mind. Again, creation. And remember, we have the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. We have the earth and we have the empress. So there's a lot of balance in this reading, which I like, coming in different forms, right? So the conscious mind, what are we creating? What are we creating? Again, that Uranus spark, divine masculine. What are you creating with your conscious mind? All right. So it's reasoning, a reasoning and a collection of, I just laughed when I read the 30th path. The reasoning and collection of images ripe for translation. Does that sound familiar? Collection of images ripe for information? Ripe for translation? But anyway, I'm on my path. Seeking hidden knowledge, skills of the alchemist, skills of the magician. Again, this Uranus energy, this 2024, you gotta alchemize, you gotta know your nature, you gotta know your magic. Simple as that. Intuitive thinking versus thoughtful, insightful thoughts. Again, intuition, and this is how I'm going to get there. What do I see? How am I going to get there? Right? What's to come and how we get there. That's what my notes said. And then the self-mastery portion of it. How you control your instincts and your impulses, right? Reading from my notes. Knowing ourselves on a deeper level. Acknowledgement of our fears. Yeah, you don't do this self-mastery path without acknowledging your fears. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck too. It's like, yeah, we got to say, I'm afraid of this. Because you got to voice it out so that you can start working with that energy and change that relationship between you and what you're fearing, right? And also move past the fear, because fear is just there, and you can just walk with it. You really can just be like, hey, let's go, we're going. You don't even have to clear their fear so much. You just got to say, you're not going to stop me. That's what I did for a long time. I just said, this fear that I acknowledge is not going to stop me. Let's go. Walk with me, follow me, but you coming. We going, we moving forward, right? Overcoming fears to allow the beautiful light to come in. And we, like I said, you really can't get stuck in a fear. I was stuck in a fear for a long, long time. So it's so important to get unstuck from fears. Find your friends and like-minded souls. Find your tribe, and companionship and good conversation becomes so much more important, Again, just knowing who you could talk to, knowing who not to talk to, having those really good conversations, and communication is so important. The throat chakra has to work for you, because you gotta be able to communicate what you're feeling, as well as sometimes a lot of things go unsaid, and that tends to create more fear and create more stagnation and create more confusion. Again, if we look back at 2020, look how many things were not able to be discussed because of censorship. And then here we are 4 years later. Within those 4 years, there's been more light coming in and more air to let people speak and talk and discuss things. And through that allowing of the air and the light, people got new information. We were able to conversate about things that we weren't able to in that specific time and place. Some of us, because some of us were talking about it anyway. Right? And it is the astrology path. Right? It's the path of, and again, see the intelligence, this goes right back to where we started with the wisdom and intelligence, right? The astrology path, again, I think too, what it's saying too is we're coming into a place where we're now going to know thyself more. You know what I mean? I'm a child of I actually thought know thyself was in the Bible for a long time. I was like, it's not. I thought it was in the Bible. So is this, again, the know thyself first? Because I came here to know thyself. That's why I'm here, right? So as we are opened up into this path of beauty more, we don't do it without knowing who we are. And I think that's the crux of it. We came here for a reason, to figure out who we are, figure out who our purpose is, and then to activate that into the realm. I was talking to one of my shaman sisters this morning, and I said, well, some of us come saying, okay, where did I come from? What am I here to do? Who am I? I've answered those questions. It's time for me to just ground in doing the work as if. You know what I'm saying? I know who I am, I know where I came from, and I know what my life purpose and mission is. So I'm not looking for those things anymore. I was, but now the reality for me is I have those answers, and I get to ground myself fully in all of that knowledge and all of that wisdom. I didn't know that 10 years ago. I didn't know that 20 years ago, but I know it today. So that's a whole different reality for me with that knowledge, right? Know thyself. And that astrology is a big part of me knowing who I am and what I was designed cosmically to bring forth, as well as to remove from this realm, as well as from within myself as well. That divinity, that transformation, that change, right? That's what self mastery is all about. All right. So the symbols here are beauty, will, Tippereth. I love Tippereth. Just, I love it. The Leo energy, humor, play, strength, the abyss. You see the abyss, the human soul. So again, this soul and spirit and knowing your inner essence, it's all merging. It's all merging as one for you, not one same thing, but a cohesive, harmonious thing made up of many different parts, right? The diamond, clarity. I want y'all to see the picture, so let me get out of the way. The diamond, you see the diamonds at the bottom below the canoe. And he's in his own boat directing his journey. He has the wadjet on his head, he has the yank in his hand, he has the wand, the crystals are there, the sunflowers are there. This picture says it all, right? We have the diamonds for clarity, highest source, the sunflower for ideology and philosophy, golden fleece, kingship, authority, power, and the key, doorways to new levels and hidden talents. The wand is there again, creativity, life force, fire, and the widget, right? And we're coming back to that widget. This Uranus energy is all over the place. Get ready for it, right? Love it up, work with it, ground yourself in it. Somebody sent me two people sent me yoga poses today. I'm gonna put one video and attach it to this group. I'm also gonna put two of the astrologers that I've been listening to. One I haven't listened to in years, and she popped up in my round this week. I was so happy, and one I listen to all the time. I'm gonna tag those into this video so you could really get more of the astrology behind all of this, right? So again, that widget, that Uranus energy, the widget is the Uranus and the Kundalini energy, right? However you want to look at it. So again, it's coming. it's moving through, right? Anubis, the Chiron energy, and Anubis, the key, the Chiron. So again, it's merging so much stuff. The widget, the Kundalini, Anubis, the key, which is Chiron, which is the healer. So again, many, many, many parts to bring this cohesive thing together. But it's a beautiful, beautiful new path. It's a beautiful, beautiful new cycle that we get to experience, And then last but not least, number 10. And guess what number 10 is? Yesod, the foundation. So again, the new foundation is set. That's what this whole thing is. Birthing out a new cycle. And it's a new cycle where we are higher, wiser, smarter, more light-filled, more joy, more balance, more beauty, more hope, more inspiration, more grounded, more honest, more true. Again, I'll ask, why did we create so much? And I'll say we because it's collective fear. Why do we create so much fear around natural change and around the environmental changes? We got to stop that. We got to allow that to go and rise up. We got to release this fear that we have around the earth and nature. And when nature decides to change, we automatically go into fright mode. We got to release that and rise up. and connect with nature and trust nature and be grounded with nature, whether you want to call it Father Earth or Mother Earth, just ground and know that nature is here to work with you and you can work with nature. And we are here to conserve and protect, and nature will also preserve and protect us. It's a reciprocal relationship. All right. Not submissive, reciprocal. All right. So let's go on to the last card, which is Yesod. All right. And Yesod says it all. One of the things I really want to do, I'm going to probably add it to either, I think it's Walking with Spirit I want to add it into, because the dog has been showing up in my dreams, a lot of dreams, and it showed up in this card again. And people have been sharing with me different dreams that they're having, and the dog is there. So I want to do some symbolism with the animal spirits too. I think that's going to be my next Walking with Spirit. Yeah, so it should be right here. So this is the 10th. This is the final outcome. The final outcome is the foundation, and this has some sparks and some sparks in this one too. Some revelations in this that I got. I don't know, maybe I might be by myself, but that's okay. But I had some divine mind sparks with this when I was reading this one. All right. So Yesod is the foundation. And this is the final outcome. So really what it's saying is the final outcome is that when we have the eclipse burst, a new foundation. And the new foundation is beauty. It's a new cycle. And the new cycle is beauty. All right. So here we are, right? So let's see. So the threshold of life and death, it also is representative of the moon. And what I could see in this too, I'll step out of the way. Look how it's not just the moon in the picture, but in the picture itself, it's almost like an eclipse is happening, because there's the sun behind it and then the moon. It's not just the moon by itself, right? So I think this picture is also showing the eclipse, the energy of the eclipse, as well as the eclipse was the two things coming together. You have the masculine and the feminine. So again, you have the moon representing the feminine energy, and you have the sun representing the masculine energy, and that coming in as one body. And that's what the eclipse was. We witnessed that, and then also too taking it from a mental perspective, for lack of a better word. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind coming in together as one, right? And again, I would say we have our ego and our soul coming in together as one. So there's so many different things that are coming in together as one when two become one. And really the fire and the water, that really was the essence of the eclipse moment. So as these, and it makes perfect sense because we're in 2024 and it's the year of harmony, right? So it makes sense that these astrological events would be happening and that they would symbolize and reflect harmony, right? And us coming into more harmony and beauty, So here we are, birth cycles and intuition. And then you can see the key is there, as well as you have a door. And what I notice is that the door is positioned in the space of the animal. And that animal the dogs represent the unconditional love and protection. So the key to that door, it's almost like the new foundation. This is the key. This is the opener of ways that allows us to enter this beauty cycle of unconditional love and protection and union. So it's just beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And that's why it's the path of beauty. Right? It's the path of beauty. So the moon, let's talk about the moon, the beautiful moon, right? The moon gives birth to new ideas and new life, right? That's definitely where we are. We're giving birth to new ideas and to new life, right? We're also talking about welcoming those who whose earthly journeys are finished, right? So again, what's the final outcome? New life is coming in, as well as what is ended is going to end. All right. So just be prepared. Again, the Uranus energy, allowing things to move forward in the way they need to move forward. So what is going to begin shall begin, and what is going to end is going to end. We have to be mentally prepared and grounded to know that as we collectively go through this transition, we will be safe and protected. All right. This is what I did during COVID. I would highly recommend it to be done this year because 4 is a door. 2020 was 4. 2024 is a lot of 4s, is an 8, and it's a new door being opened. Okay. So use also what you look at, how you responded, how you didn't respond. Look at what you did from 2020. Take it, leave it, change it, whatever, but ground in who you are, what you're going with, what you're not going with before it starts to crumble. All right. So let's get back into this and wrap it all on up. Yesod is the first Sephira, and the Sephira are the energy centers and the zodiac signs, right? So the first Sephira. So Yesod would be this one here, down at the bottom. Yesod. All right. So it says it's the first Sephira beyond the physical plane. Let me just make sure that is Yesod, because like I said, I'm new, but I'm a quick learner. Just want to make sure I showed the right one, and I didn't. Okay, good. See, that's why it's good to check. My instinct told me I was wrong, and my instinct was right. Right? So this is what it is. That intuition will guide you, right? So yeah, so Yesod is actually the one in the center. And actually I could just show y'all from the book, if that might be better. Yesod is the one in the center. That's Yesod there. All right. This is Daus. No, Malkuth. Anyway, Yesod is in the center, right? That one in the down center one, right? So it is the first Sephira beyond the physical plane. Now, when I started reading that, I said, you know what came to mind? The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Mystery solved. I was like, literally, that's it. They're talking about Yesod. It's the first Sephira beyond the physical plane. And then, if you're really studying this thing, then you go into the moon being the subconscious mind and the first Sephira, Yesod. Anyway, if you know, you know. Not everybody can handle all of that right now, but if you know, you know. Anyway. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first, is what Spirit said today to me. Yesod is the closest to Earth. It's the one which all must pass, and it's the machinery of the internal and external universe. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Yesod. Even kind of has a little familiarity to it. Hey, if you know, you know. The moon is the mind of the subconscious. And astrology is measured by the moon cycles. And guess what, guys? What did I post yesterday? I was walking outside, and who did I see basking in the sun but a turtle? And I said, oh my gosh, I dropped everything and created a little video. But that had so much significance. It was the sundial. That's literally what I saw. I was like, oh, the sundial, the sundial, the sundial. Because the turtles are a symbol of truth, as well as the turtles have the 13 moon calendar on their shell. And it was just so much symbolism. And they were sitting there. When I say basking in the sun. Okay, I've never seen a turtle bask in the sun, and I saw it too. Because then later the day, I saw the little baby turtle trying. He was there too, and as soon as we came, he was like, jump back into the water. So listen, they're timekeepers, and they are ancient holders of the original calendar and the 13 moon calendar. Okay. So all of that was so significant to me. And here we are. Astrology is measured by the cycles of the moon, and it's shifting through phases of new to full. So again, we're in a whole new time. Don't think we ain't. And that's the mistake a lot of people do. It's like we don't trust the astrology. And I really would say, because we're shifting into, again, more feminine ways and ancient ways and going back to original time, we're going to bring back more of this astrology, the 13th path, into knowing ourselves and tapping into the earth and the natural cycles. And, all of that is a part of it. And again, what must die, and what must be reborn must be reborn. And Spirit is reminding me to not just to keep this short, but to mention this Aries, this Venus in Aries, because it showed up for me. And sometimes, listen, when I do pull cards just for myself, I don't realize until afterwards it is collective energy as well as my own energy. And literally sometimes, like when I did these decks, I did these spreads for me, and then I did the eclipse just to make sure that I cleared it. I did one deck and it was just for me, and I didn't do it with the eclipse. But today, as I'm doing my research, I was like, where is Venus? Venus is in Aries, right? And Venus in Aries, what is that called? The wild woman, right? And guess what? When I pulled my deck for this card 2 weeks ago, guess what came up? The wild one. So I said, oh, that's what that's about. So I want to read this too. All right, because that's that Venus in Aries that we're going to find, that we're going to experience, or that we are experiencing with the Jupiter and the Uranus conjunction, and with that pillar of mercy. All right. So just to wrap this one up, family, the symbolism, family, cycles, and the high priestess. The dog represents loyalty, unconditional love, and protection. And remember, that's where the new door is, right? She's holding a key here, or there's a key in suspense that is available to everybody. I love that it's in suspense. So he can reach it, she can reach it. The divine masculine in you and the divine feminine, it's there for you both to behold, right? And the key to the new experience, a new phase that opens this door is in unconditional love, safety, and protection, all wrapped up in this whole beautiful path of beauty, right? And retreat, again, the word retreat, tranquility, longevity, and the key represents doorways to new levels and hidden talents. All right, so that's the final outcome, guys. The path of beauty is where we go start, and where we end up is loyalty, unconditional love, protection, retreat, tranquility, longevity, doorways to a new level, and hidden talent revealed, new cycles, and the high priestess. Well, hey, why did some of them fare this so much? I wonder why. Right? And I'm going to wrap this up with reading the Wild One. And the beauty of this deck is sacred cycles. This is definitely a sacred cycle that we just opened up, as well as this is, cut up into different sections. And the Wild One is a cycle. All right. So just read what it says. And it says, I claim my full expression. Okay, so this is where we're at, people, claiming our full expression, and we have the astrological, galactic, higher, above, heaven supporting it. And that's what I was saying. Sometimes we don't recognize that the universe is in support of positive changes, and we're focusing so much on this 3D globality and those that run the globe that we forget about the higher universal support. And I want to remind everybody about that. Above the globe is the universe. There are levels to this game. Tap into the universal people, not the global ones. That's my advice. 4 years straight. I claim my full expression. The Wild One is uninhibited, unencumbered, and weightless, without the judgments and expectations of others anchoring her down. The chains that bind fall away, and freedom is fully expressed. Truth is the guiding star here, and it permeates every inch, moment, and action. With this internal compass, forward motion is propelled by a desire for authenticity and determination to claim what is most true and real. Courageous authenticity. That's all the universe has been sending me in terms of what is this whole cycle about. It's about our courageous authenticity. That's what the eclipse is about. In a world that encourages sameness for safety and at the expense of individuality, this is your sacred call to cast aside the narrative. Do so for the sake of your soul's path. Come on now. Come on. Come on. The sun, right? Do it for the sake of your soul's path. Where did we begin? Beautiful one. Anyway, y'all know it. Hiding from me now. Do so for the sake of your soul's path. The Wild One asks you to choose freedom. And I would say liberation. A freedom found in being forthright with declaring who you are in the highest expression of yourself. Highest expression. Deep down, you may have this feeling that something has stayed locked inside you out of concern for what others may think. That's this Uranus coming to break up and balance out your solar plexus, right? You have the key. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Deep down, you may have this feeling that something has stayed locked inside you out of concerns for what others may think or say should they find out about it. You have the key. You have the courage. You have the inner knowing of the ways your life will bloom and expand when this part of you is set free. The opener of ways. and expand. You have the inner knowing of the ways your life will bloom and expand when this part of you is set free. So unlock the cage, release the chains, and welcome all of yourself to this experience of life. Journal prompt. What do I need to release in order to more fully embrace my truest self? And guys and gals, that's where we're all at. What do I need to release to embrace and liberate my truest self? Uranus is going to help you do it. I mean, Uranus is going to help that process if you don't have that clarity yet. And again, I'm just here to say, step into your full power and expression and own it all this year. Thank you so much. I really try to keep these short, but some messages are just you can't do this in a short message, or I couldn't. And so hey, but I'm happy that the numbers of you that have watched part one have. So I want to say thank you. And hopefully you came back. And I hope that this message serves you. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you so much for the 104 that I already have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And if you feel like this message will help somebody else, please do share it. I'm about quality over quantity. So please share it with those who you think it will serve. I love you and thank you so much. Bye-bye and have a great April and a beautiful. Allow yourself to integrate and weave your hopes and desires into this new path and potential and opportunity of beauty that is here for us all. But you got to choose it. You got to claim it. And you definitely have to own it. I love you. Bye-bye. And thank you, Mercury retrograde, for not this one. Bye.